Welcome to Dev Lantern. Today's topic is the business of design and how product designers can become better business leaders. Joining us today is Precious, a seasoned product designer with over 5 years experience in the fintech industry and also the blockchain industry. Hello, Precious.
Hi, thanks for having me here.
It's good to have you. I mean, we're lucky to actually have you here and honored at the same time.
I feel I'm the lucky one here to be seated in this seat today
Okay,
to talk about my experience. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Can you really tell us more about yourself?
Sure. I'm a product designer, and I've been a product designer for well over 5 years.
Okay.
With a background in computer science.
Oh, wow.
And for me, design is more than just designing on Figma.
Yeah.
It's way more than that. It's what happens right after Figma, right?
Okay.
How the user interacts with the product and how money comes into the organization or the business.
That money part is the main thing.
Very, very important for everyone. But yeah, that's my background, and not just fintech and blockchain, but being a generalist in the design field has made me to understand how other industries work.
Cool.
From agriculture, education, and a whole lot more industries, not just fintech and blockchain.
That's so much on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the key importance of today's topic is the fact that as a product designer, you also come up with the business side of things, right?
Yes.
How has that been for you?
I think it comes from my own background, in trying to understand how businesses make money. And so I try to merge the two passions of both design and both understanding businesses, and that's what fueled my passion to learn more about how design can actually improve business decisions and business revenue in general.
A lot of product designers today, I mean, they struggle to understand this, especially when it comes to the product design roadmaps and, having to now learn product design and move to the business side. What would you advise them? How would you tell them to start?
I'll say take things in bits. For example, you should learn to communicate with other stakeholders in a particular project or product that you're working on. For example, one thing I learned is communicating properly with my line manager, or what we call product managers or product owners. That way you get to understand why you are building a particular feature, why you're designing this, why this is necessary for not just the user, but for the business, right? And that's one way to start. And I feel like that's something we should emphasize on for everyone, both beginners, both mid-level designers. So understanding the product is another one. You need to understand how products work, not just I'm designing today and I'm done with the design. You need to understand that this product affects people's life. People not just want a product to work, they want your solution, right? And that's one thing I learned in a book I read recently. This is marketing. And I think those two things are things designers should learn.
From your answer to that question, it's obvious that you read a lot and you learn a lot from, because you just said a book that you read just now. I mean, that's quite obvious that you do something like that. So now, which brings me to my next question, which has to do with skills, right? I mean, what kind of skills would you advise this guy should go out for? What kind of content, for an example, materials would you advise this guy should look out for?
I would say for designers that are going into this business of designs, they should learn basic things of unit economics how customer acquisition and also lifetime value affects your product, right? This way you understand what companies spend money on in terms of pushing their product to the public. That way you know what you're supposed to prioritize when you're designing. For example, you notice that companies, or rather users, fall short when they are onboarding. You notice that, people signed up, but they are not using the product afterwards. Why is that? These are things you need to learn about in the business of design. And this way you can drive more revenue for the product and for the company as a whole.
Okay, so I'm curious more about your own personal experience, right?
Sure.
And do you have something you can share based on your own experience on how this has worked for you?
Definitely. At Acumen Digital, we have a product called Color. And Color, think about it as Apple Pay, right? We're not trying to reinvent the system. Apple Pay is somewhat new to the African ecosystem, and that's what we are trying to push into the Nigerian market. And this would come as some sort of new experience for people. Think about it as your POS, right? When POS started, people were somewhat used to just going to the ATMs and all. Then now you have every doorstep, you have a POS vendor. And we are trying to simplify payment system. I mean, this is a cliche word that you've heard.
Yeah, it's
we're trying to simplify payment system.
Yeah, it is.
But I think we have an edge. Here's why I think we have an edge. We call it Tap to Pay for Africa, or Apple Pay for Africa, simply because we've shortened the process it takes for imagine you're doing a bank transfer now. You have to enter the account number, you have to do this, do that before you confirm the name, before you actually say this transaction is successful. So at Kala, we thought about this process and how users can add their bank accounts or their cards and simply use the NFC scanner or barcode scanner and you make payments.
What is the first thing? I mean, I think I need to ask this particular question. What's the first thing that comes to your mind whenever you're being asked to, work on a particular product, design a product? How do you start?
So a mentor of mine taught me a few things I need to know about building a product. Some questions are necessary before you actually start designing. Remember, I think I need to emphasize on the point that design is not just in your Figma design. It's not. It's way beyond that. And back to your question, we talked about. You asked about why. Please, do you mind repeating the question?
That's the first thing that comes to your mind, right?
Yes. Who are the target audience? Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Why are we servicing? Why are we building this product for who? You get, because you can't just build a product and expect that people would
use it just like that.
Exactly. You need to have an audience in mind.
True. True.
No matter the audience, anybody can be an audience. The rich, the middle class, anybody can be an audience.
True.
Even schools, babies can be your audience. You'll be like, I need to design for this particular market.
True.
Think about it. Think about Cocomelon, for example. That's a niche market. And you go to YouTube today, you'd see that these videos have millions of views, and you're like, I've been struggling to put my video on YouTube and I can barely get 100 views. So when building a product, first thing you need to think about is your
target
audience.
So think about your target audience, guys.
Definitely.
Okay. That's quite helpful. Thank you very much for that. Now we're now in the era of AI, right?
Yes.
And I mean, obviously, as a product designer, you can't tell me that you don't use AI. You definitely use AI to an extent.
Yes.
So how do you implement AI into your product? In fact, I think when answering that, one important thing you should also let our audience know is, when is the best time for you to figure? Because a lot of people just start projects and they just want to go straight to using AI. So when do you think is the best time to actually say, okay, let me turn to AI and work with AI?
That's a good question. We need to remember that as product designers, we are building for the users, right? In as much as AI is here to help, we need to put our users in mind. AI can't predict how human behaviors would be at the end of the day.
True.
For me, I try to integrate AI into my daily workflow. For example, when building illustrations or images these days, I tend to use more of AI tools than the traditional FreePic or Envato these days. Why? The reason why is because I can prompt properly that this is what I want, this is what I have in my mind, and that way it creates maybe not 100%, but 90% close to the idea I have.
True.
Another thing is user testing with AI. Now, the reason why this is funny to me, why I find it funny, is because AI can't predict 100% what a human would do, right?
When you say user testing,
yes, with AI, and there's a reason why I said that. These days we can put in our designs into a system like ChatGPT and say, okay, analyze what is wrong with this user experience, right? In as much as this would help out, we still need to test with a real person.
Yeah.
User testing sessions. We can't overlook user testing sessions, but this would help to eliminate some difficulties that we might have in the user testing sessions.
So it's like saying you are telling AI to help you analyze if this target audience are going to
how they would use
how
the
they will
product.
react and use the product.
Exactly.
Wow,
so
I've never seen product design in that side of
things.
I
mean, you can look at things like, for example, you have your high fidelity designs, right?
Yeah.
Put it into AI. Do these colors work? What's the contrast ratio for this particular design I've put in?
Yeah.
In as much as AI is here to help, we still need our end users. That's what I'm trying to say. So they work hand in hand. You can use AI, but you still need to test your product on real people.
True.
Yeah. But day to day, that's how I've been using AI. So I use my AI tools and I still test with physical with real users rather.
I like what you just said about the AI tools part. So what are the AI tools that you work with?
Mostly ChatGPT and Gemini Studio. Helps a whole lot in prompting for images because I work with lots of images and illustrations.
Okay.
So there's one I can't remember the name, but yeah, I try as much as possible to. And these days, most platforms integrate AIs into them from the little things like help me shorten the word, help me create copies for this particular website. And even Figma has its own AI tool integrated in it where you can easily create your wireframes. Just have your idea, create your wireframes, then modify the wireframe to your taste. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you put yourself in a position whereby you have access to the boardroom with the big guns?
It starts small. Yeah. Okay. You don't just wake up and enter the boardroom or start making decisions.
And just
barge in. You can't barge in immediately. It starts small. You the humble beginnings are the very important steps for every designer. From my personal point of view, I started as an intern, right?
Okay.
And now I lead a design team.
Oh wow!
How did that start for me? It started from listening, understanding what people ahead of me are doing. Yeah. This has made me level up and being a decision maker rather in product design and wherever I work, right? And like I said, you need to listen, you need to pay attention to people ahead of you, have mentors, right? Be ready to listen and be able to communicate properly. That communication part is very necessary. I don't necessarily think there's a stupid question to ask. Especially when in your career growth, you need to ask all the questions, even the stupid ones. You will find an answer to it. So that's a way to level up and to have more decisions in the boardroom.
True. Oh, nice. So what advice would you give a beginner who wants to just start, product design and who's also considering, oh, is product design really a thing for me? And how would you advise the person to make that decision?
Yeah, I think from my point of view also, I started design as, I started as a developer. Like I said, I have a computer science background, so I started coding in school. But I also needed interface to visualize what I'm building, right?
True.
Think about it as a mobile dev. You don't just want to start coding or anything. You need something. You need an interface or a mock-up rather before you start building. And that's how I started. Just a passion to want to see beforehand and understanding user experience, users interface, how people interact with the interface, how I can even handle from design to dev. That's how I started. Back to your question, sorry, I digress. For beginners, you need to just learn as much as you want. You don't need to necessarily pick a niche at the beginning of your career. And that's when I think it was 3 years into my design journey, I decided that, I think I can. I really love the business part of design, how businesses make money through just a simple login page. You can make money. The other part, you can create your own niche in design. So there's no particular niche that people recognize in the world right now. But you can just start from any, be a generalist. That's what I'll say. Be a generalist. Okay. Don't just focus on fintech, this or that. Just
go everywhere.
Go everywhere, learn.
Try to touch.
Exactly. 2-3 years, you'll figure out what works for you and what works best for you.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Thank you for that advice. So for me, I've had experiences whereby, collaborating with product designers and other people in the team are usually difficult, right? Now, how would you advise a product designer to work better in terms of collaborating with guys? And who do you think should be a product designer collaborator? That's the one person a product designer should always hold on to, because he needs this person's input whether anyone likes it or not.
Good question. I think product owners are the first point of communication for every product designer. I believe product owners understand the product, what is there today and what will be there tomorrow for every product. And as a product designer, you also need a skill, right? You need to understand how products would evolve, how that particular product you're working on would evolve over time. And that's why you need to stay close to your product owners, discuss with them, ask them, why are we building this feature, right? Why is this important to us right now? Why are we doing this now? And that way you're able to not just bring in your ideas, they respect your ideas also and say, yeah, this person really knows what they're doing with their products. Yeah.
So product owners are the key players.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Precious, for sharing that insightful story and your journey all through. I mean, it's been amazing learning from you within the short time we've had today in the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for being in the show one more time. And do you have any means of communication, just in case our users out there want to communicate with
definitely.
you? Like maybe your social media handle or something?
Yeah, I'm mostly active on Twitter, but I have
Twitter though.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
but I have
several social medias.
Yeah.
Why do tech guys have this thing for Twitter?
I think for me, my Twitter is a different space for me. I'll call it, let's say, my alter ego. Here's why. Because I hardly talk about design, but most of my talks there are focused on basketball and gaming. Because I made it some sort of outlet for me to explore other things in life. And yeah, as designers, you actually need to be creative, and not just creative as focusing on your laptop every day. You need to go out, have a social life. Exactly. That's why my Twitter. That's why my Twitter is I try to stay off work from my Twitter. I focus on other things. But yeah, my Twitter is my primary communication point. Yeah.
Here you have it, guys. His Twitter account is there. What's your Twitter account?
At @depresh_legacy.
Oh, nice. So our followers would reach out to you just in case. So guys, do reach out to him in case if you have any questions or anything.
I post my designs sometimes.
Oh, he does post his designs. So you can learn from him by just taking a look at his designs and, even practicing what he has done. Basically, that's another way you can learn. All right. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, which will be displayed on the screen. Feel free to leave a review. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. Till next time, stay techie. Bye.